I'm Dr. Barbara Fredrickson. I'm Keenan Distinguished Professor of Psychology at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and I study everything to do with positive emotions, how they affect us in the moment, how they affect our growth over time. I use the word positivity to describe that larger system that surrounds our positive emotions, our joy, our serenity, our gratitude, our experiences of love and the like. And it's those positive emotions are really part of a broader system that helps promote health and well-being. It stems from our positive experiences and interpretations, and it leads to a change in the way we look at the world, our ability to see more, and our ability to grow and change and become better versions of ourselves over time. If you're in the midst of a circumstance where you've just learned of a terrible loss, it's appropriate to feel sad in that context. It's not mandated to, try to sweep that away and feel good in its place. What we actually find is that the most resilient people have a way of experiencing their negative emotions like sadness side by side with positive emotions like feelings of love or gratitude, rather than using their positive emotions to sweep the negative emotions away. Those positive and negative perspectives kind of inform and influence one another. So it is possible to experience in the same difficult circumstance both the sadness or potentially the grief alongside that sense of just feeling thankful for the support you're getting from others or hopeful for the future. And what really seems to predict both resilience and flourishing is being able to co-experience the negative and the positive in difficult circumstances. What we found is that there's a particular ratio of positive to negative emotions, 3-to-1, that serves as a tipping point, above which when people experience positive emotions to negative emotions above that threshold, they're more likely to be flourishing. That 3-to-1 ratio is a tipping point, very much like the melting point of ice. So above 0 degrees Celsius, there's H2O is being fluid and dynamic, and below 0 degrees Celsius, it's kind of stuck. And people seem to follow that same sort of kind of having a stuck, languishing emotional life below that 3-to-1 ratio. The reason the ratio is not 1-to-1 is because bad is stronger than good. I mean, our negative emotions grab our attention and really, grab our whole physiological systems more potently than do our positive emotions. And although positive emotions are proportionally not as strong as negative emotions, they can add up. They get power in numbers in a way that if we experience a greater ratio of positive emotions to negative emotions above 3-to-1, that's when the positive emotions really become much more able to spur our growth and help us become more resilient. All emotions, positive and negative, are associated with changes in the biochemistry of our bodies. We hear a lot about cortisol and stress. Well, in positive emotions, we're beginning to understand more about what are the biochemical properties that come into play for these more uplifting states. And especially for our positive emotions that we feel in connection to others, we know that oxytocin increases, progesterone increases. And those changes in biochemistry can affect long-term changes in physiological systems. What we found in our lab is that the very rhythms of our heart change in response to our recent history of positive emotions. So that the more positive emotions people experience on a daily basis, the healthier their parasympathetic nervous system and their what's called vagal tone, or their heart rate variability, becomes more in a healthy constructive, resilient range. So there are definite physiological effects of our diet of positive emotions, not just how we feel right now, but what we've been feeling in the last few weeks and months. You know, a lot of times when people learn the benefits of positive emotions, they think that they should adopt the motto, I gotta be positive. And actually, the research shows that that backfires. That when people try too hard to be positive, sort of a toxic insincerity can take over that is not good for your own physical health, and it's not good for your social relationships. Better mottos to adopt would be open, be curious, be kind, be appreciative, and to be real, to acknowledge negative emotions when they come up. And there's a way in which our openness, in particular, to our current experiences is a way to immediately help us shift from kind of complaining about what's wrong in a situation to maybe seeing its possible benefits. So another quick approach would be to think about what it is in your day right now that could be considered a gift to be treasured or savored. So gratitude is one of the easiest positive emotions to conjure up out of thin air. It's because usually we're just not paying attention to the things in our lives or in our days that are really welcome gifts. And because, again, the negative stuff calls out at you and grabs your attention. It requires a quieter perspective to see those subtle goods. But when we do take that moment of openness to think, you know, what it is that in my day right now, the great weather, the kindness, the attention, and the interest that I can find in my different aspects of my job. Those things can be real sources of positivity. The positivity that you need to help you get on this healthier path doesn't need to be intense or strong. Mild doses work, frequent mild doses work. So, I think mindfulness relates to positive emotions in this way in which a very helpful mindset for creating positivity is to adopt the mindset of positivity. The mindset of positivity is open, expansive, aware, and that's also the mindset of mindfulness. And so things that people can do to just observe and take in their circumstances rather than be prejudging them or worse yet, ignoring their circumstances are things that also fuel positivity. The causal arrows go in two directions here. That open, expansive thinking is a product of positivity, but also can be a cause of positivity. So in this whole positivity system, there's a lot of reciprocal causality that starts dynamics going that can lead on an upward spiral. That perspective that we find in resilient people, being very open to circumstances and able to see the good alongside the bad, is also a way to describe what mindfulness promotes as well. The scientific perspective on positive emotions that I have been working on and developed for the last 15 or more years is called the broaden-and-build theory of positive emotions, and that describes two primary roles that positive emotions have in our well-being and functioning and health. And that is that they broaden our awareness, they literally expand our peripheral vision so that we can take in more information about the circumstances that we're in. And over time, that broadened awareness can accumulate and compound and help us build our resources for survival and well-being. So the broaden-and-build theory captures both the short-term cognitive effects of positive emotions, the broadening, and the long-term life-changing effects of positive emotions, the building of resources. It's the building of resources which describes how positive emotions really set us on a positive trajectory of growth so that we become better versions of ourselves through our experiences of positive emotions. And so that's the the theoretical framework that has been the guide for the research studies that we do and is very well supported by the evidence. The resources that accrue through people's experiences of positive emotions are things like resilience, social connection, mindfulness as a trait, physical health. So I think of them as attributes of a person that help us get through the day, help us deal with difficult situations. And some people might call that your character. I tend to avoid using the word character because that seems kind of fixed in stone. Resources are things that we can accrue and draw on when we need them, but they can also erode, when things aren't going that well for us. So it's a word that implies a lot more dynamic possibility than character or personality. I think one way to get started is to begin to pay more attention to the sources of positive emotion in our daily life. I've actually created a measurement tool for this on a website called www.positivityratio.com. There's a short 2-minute test that you can take to learn what your positivity ratio is like today, and you could track that over time to see how that changes. As ways to try to instill some change, one thing to do is to just think about the different ways that you connect with people in daily life, and think of your longest interactions with others and whether those interactions make you feel connected and attuned. And if the answer is no, think through what is it that you could do differently tomorrow to feel more of that connection, because most of our positive emotions do occur through our experiences of connection with others. And so when we learn to pay attention to that and foster those connections, that can be a real way to begin to feel more gratitude, connection, love, and just enjoyment in general, amusement. So all kinds of things come from our connections with others.